this, that you and I would have a Christ-centered worldview. He expects you and I to be discerning what we see around us in this world. So why? So that we might have a Christ-centered or a Christian worldview. And this is vitally important. You heard me bring this up before. I don't care who you are today, no matter what your belief system is. You may be an atheist this morning. You have a worldview, and your worldview dictates how you act and what you say and do in life. What drives you will be based upon your worldview. You may have a New Age worldview, for example. Save the earth and hug a bear and plant a tree, and that's fantastic, okay? That's fantastic. That's great, right? But if that's your life that drives you, and you see these people who throw themselves, out in front of a ship. What is this thing with they're going to go away, the Japanese ships are whaling, and these Greenpeace. They'll kill them. These people will kill themselves to make a statement about a whale. Now, look, I love whales. Whales are fantastic. I talked about whales a couple weeks ago. They're fantastic. But to sacrifice yourself, a human being created in the image of God, for a whale? Look, stand up against whaling if that's what you want to stand up against, but to give your life for it? These people now are becoming heroes in those who have a New Age global view. That's their heroes. All right. But is that smart? Is it wise? Or you might have a secular worldview. And it's this, and this is your worldview. If it feels good, do it. And it's funny because it's such a massive hypocritical way to live, because the person who can say, if it feels good, do it. I believe looking out for number one. I've lived long enough to watch this happen. As long as they're healthy enough to do what they want to do, they love that philosophy until someone bigger comes along with a bigger body to punch them out with or a bigger gun to shoot them with. The next guy comes along as a humanist and says, I believe in the survival of the fittest. And you go, yeah, me too. And if it feels good, do it. Yeah, I believe that too. And that big guy with the big gun says, and by the way, I think it feels good for me to shoot you right now. All of a sudden, your philosophy goes out the window. Your humanistic worldview now comes to a screeching halt because someone bigger than you has now taken your belief system and has rammed it down your throat and said, hey, didn't you say survival of the fittest? I'm more fit than you are, thus you die. Bang, you're out of here. Happens every day. If that's your secular worldview. You can have a very religious worldview. You can have a worldview that is anything but what God would have, unless it's God-centered. And so this is very important. Mark this, because, church, let's be honest. Verse 10 begins something that is incredibly awesome and terrifying, and if you don't have a Christ-centered worldview, you're going to flip out. You are going to go nuts. In fact, the Bible says, Jesus said it, that in the last days as they approach, people will begin to see things happening in the world around them, and their hearts will fail them for fear because of the anticipation of things coming upon the earth. You are a believer. You don't have to freak out and panic.